Ladies and gentlemen, right back into the action here on twitch.tv/speedrun. Coming up with this match, TriforceTK versus RetroRuns. Rolling right through. I'm hanging out with Cartoon Buffoon this evening. How you doing tonight, Cartoon?
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm doing pretty good. TriforceTK, one of my ROM hack brothers in this tournament, one of the very few. Very excited to see this race. I'm gonna try not to be biased though, because I definitely I know both of these runners pretty well, so it's gonna be cool.
Solid runners, TriforceTK, the nonstop 70-star world record holder, and Retro just getting a PB less than an hour ago, lowered it down to 51.51, finally getting that sub 52. He's got to be feeling good after that.
Yeah, we're kicking things right off, right away.
Getting started, getting synced up. Looks like RetroRuns running on the Japanese versus TriforceTK is running US on emulator. We're going to see some differences here. That does make the difference in late game. Both of these runners very consistent throughout their play here in the 70-star tournament.
Yeah, TK has been very consistent. I believe he's 2-0 already in his races, which is really good. So he could be the 6th, I believe, to get to 3-0 if he wins today, which would be pretty exciting.
He has been practicing nonstop. I've been able to kind of check in on him. Doing a great job grinding it out because that's what it takes to get these low numbers like this as this race is underway. So don't forget to check out vi.gg !bet. Check that out in the chat. Check out the link down in the panel. They are the official sponsor of all of the prize pools here in this tournament, Super Mario Odyssey and Super Metroid, going on through the month of December here on GSA as we're heading in for Bomb Clip.
Yeah, Retro's got a slight lead because the intro on Japanese is a little bit faster. Also, TK did an accidental ground pound, so a little early lead for Retro as we start.
As we know, it's anybody's match for sure. Both of these runners aren't new to the game. TriforceTK really making a name for himself the past couple of months, going back and forth, battling with Lunar Jump in these nonstop categories. It's been phenomenal to see.
Yeah, I don't know if it was mentioned by you yet, but TK won the nonstop tournament that was not long ago, so he's definitely got a lot of, well, maybe not a lot, but he's got good experience, a good history with these tournaments, so maybe that'll give him a slight edge in this tourney as well.
Nonstop is really hard because obviously you don't stop. It does have some different movement, but every little movement that you do counts. It's a second. You don't have that lag time grabbing those stars, having the stars spawn, or exiting course. So I think that Triforce here in this situation does have a slight advantage. As we see Triforce knocking out a 12.7 on the slide, just as RetroRuns is going for that typical Womps Fortress 100 that most runners start out with.
Yeah, 12.7 is respectable for a race. It's not a bad slide time.
For sure. We know that it's a balance. It's always a balance between, doing those super risky strats. Very nice half cycle there. Doing those super risky strats versus, not wanting to outpace your opponent, not doing something that's so risky that's going to lose you a ton of time.
Yeah, you just got to be able to tell with who you're facing and also how you're doing in the race if you need to go for strats like that or not. So it's in most cases I felt it's like a game time decision, but it's definitely a tough call for what strats you should and shouldn't go for. But very important.
Now, you're in this tournament as well, and I kind of ask the runners that are in the tournament, do you watch the other runner while you're streaming as well, or while you're running to kind of see where they are?
Yeah, I'm a lot better than Toast. I at least don't watch a movie while I'm running.
Right.
But I watch the other runners because I think it helps me personally, like, to know, like, again, like, if I'm behind, I think I need to go for really fast stuff to try and catch up. Or if I'm ahead, I maybe ease off the gas pedal a little bit, depending on how far the lead is. I get to judge, like, what I need to go for, and it also helps with confidence as well.
For sure. Looks like Retro missing that Owless right there. You kind of take the hit, especially if you miss some of these strats that you practice over and over mentally going into these matches, and it can affect you for the rest of your run. What do you do to get out of that funk, like Triforce missing that wall kick there? How do you let things go, as Elsa says?
I mean, I definitely struggled with that in my last race, not gonna lie. Because I definitely should have done a lot better, but my end game was atrocious because I was on tilt mode. So it's a
Right.
very difficult thing, in my opinion, to, like, settle down after making mistakes. But you gotta understand that mistakes are going to happen, and you want to minimize them by playing as fast as you can, wherever you can. So,
Exactly, and it's frustrating too because you put in a lot of time and effort. You know, we see Triforce getting that bonk there, slipping off the top of the womp that's right there, or the thwomp, I should say. It's really hard, and I think Triforce has done a good job with the mistakes that he's made because in 70 star you don't have that opportunity to get tilted. You're on to the next star immediately, so I think he has a slight advantage in that area as well.
yeah, I remember hearing TK talk about how he likes nonstop a lot more because instead of getting taken out of the level and having that time to think about like what you've done, you just keep going. So it's like he says 70 is a little bit tougher because there's a lot of downtime and a lot of time to reminisce on the mistakes and get in your head. But I'm sure since TK's been practicing a lot, he's getting a lot better with that mindset battle of his.
For sure. Absolutely. You know, and Wom's Fortress is notorious for runners. Like when you're just doing runs, uh, on your home stream, kind of hanging out with your chat, Wom's Fortress is that spot that you'll reset a ton just because you're like, man, it's the beginning of the run. I want to get a good Womps Fortress. But here you have to be more accepting of like these small mistakes that we see retro runs making here on the Big Daddy Thwomp up top.
Yeah, Womps is definitely like one of the biggest gatekeeper levels in this, like during PB attempts, because a lot of the mistakes you can make will lose like many seconds. Like missing like Cannonless will lose like maybe 10 seconds or so. Missing Owless is like 6 to 8 or something. Like it's not just like a few seconds from a small mistake, but like messing one thing up could lose a big chunk of time. So it's hard to accept that in a race, but you just gotta keep going. Push through.
Agreed, 100%. And going through runners are really hard on themselves, and I think it's the time and the dedication that runners put into learning the game, grinding it out. I remember watching Lunar Jump, who's also in this tournament, spend like 8 hours grinding out Dark World, just working on the movement. And it's got to be frustrating spending all of that time and then getting into a run or a race setting, and then kind of dropping a little bit of spaghetti.
Yeah. Yeah, stuff like that's bound to happen, and a lot of runners are hard on themselves because, just again, what you're saying with the dedication, it's crazy how many hours some people put into things. Like 8 hours on Dark World seems insane, honestly. But
For
I'm sure
sure.
I'll probably see myself doing the same thing in like maybe a few weeks or months or so. But it's just, yeah. I mean, I hear a lot of the time in my chat room, people that like think, because I'm getting angry and I say a run's bad, and they're like, if this is bad, then what am I? Like, this is like, because it's just the standard and pressure that they put on themselves to be at this high level.
One man's red is another man's gold, that's for sure. Just as RetroRuns is finishing up his first slide, Triforce finishing up with a 12.9, going back in for a second bite, just as Triforce is heading up to fly. Now, TriforceTK has mentioned this is the most difficult or the hardest start in the game. He's changed that mindset now. He said Owless is, now that he's not running nonstop. I think that he's right in the aspect of the mechanics of flying are really weird. And it's not that it's hard to go fast, in the words of Ricky Bobby.
Yeah, it's really hard to optimize. TK electing to take a safe ground pound, and missing the text skip. And missing the
missing
star.
the star. Yeah, a little bit of a rough ending there for Triforce, just as RetroRun is heading up to the clouds for himself.
So TK definitely demonstrating that point that he made with that star being the hardest for him. So even though
Now,
he's maybe changed his mind, but I don't know. TK is a little iffy, a little indecisive.
to me, Dark World is like the first scary spot within these races because small movement errors can lead to death and a lot of time loss, specifically on the 7th and 8th red coins. We see a lot of issues, and the 6th red coin as well.
And levels like this, maybe TK has a little bit of an advantage because of his ROM hack experience, because there's a lot of ROM hacks that we've ran where the entire game is like Dark World. One little mistake is a death, so you really got to be careful. So maybe that experience will help him, but it's still definitely possible that mistakes are bound to happen, and you just don't want to see that in a race atmosphere. But we have seen it happen before.
like they're missing that 6th coin, having to wait a cycle, missing again. 2 cycles behind now, was on a good pace. You know, coming from
barely making that long jump, having a safety kick.
Like you were talking about, coming from that ROM hack community where a lot of these ROM hacks are designed for optimized like triple jump dives and things like that. I can see the advantage on these movement-based courses for TriforceTK. RetroRuns sliding back down, not getting that triple jump up the slope, trying to catch up at this point, but TriforceTK giving him a little bit of wiggle room to get started.
Yeah, Retro only missed 1 cycle, so he should make up a little bit of time to TK if he has a solid ending.
TriforceTK nailing Bowser like he owes him some money. Just as RetroRuns is going to see Bowser for the first time, grabbing that star, almost jumped in the pipe there. That would have been bad.
Yeah, my heart sank for like a half a second there. That was crazy close.
Wow. And we're off. TriforceTK gonna go flying in the sky once again here on Sky Jump.
TK had to wait for like a fraction of a second there because the camera followed him throughout the Bowser door, so he wasn't able to hold the right angle to go to Bob very fast.
And that's fair. And it's those small optimizations, you know.
And I never really understood, like I still don't understand like why the camera sometimes follows you and sometimes doesn't. It's a very bizarre thing that the game does.
Well, and this being one of the first 3D platformers, I think Nintendo did a great job at giving you that ability or trying to find a way to manipulate the camera, and they integrated into the game. So it's not just the camera behind you, it's our evil friend Lakitu who kind of throws us off.
Yeah, and I think maybe another advantage that ROM hacks give us is the fact that the camera is designed for Mario 64, so ROM hacks often have different, like not as good camera angles, so we kind of have to learn to adjust the camera and make it do what we want it to do. So that can maybe help us, you know, if we like mess something up and have to back it up and get a good camera or something. Like we just know how to move the camera the right way.
Camera not working out on wall kicks will work. Having to back it up, getting that ledge grab and a kick across to grab the star. Let's see if RetroRuns can make up time over that backflip wall kick.
Yeah, TK with a good lead, but Retro's still hanging around, so it's still fairly close.
I like CCM. It's very fun, very fast paced, but this is where we see routes kind of divide. You know, there's different comfortability levels. There's different mindsets. You know, some people say CCM 17, some people say CCM 18. So I kind of like seeing what's going through the runner's mind going through this. Now, I mean, what is your preference being in this tournament? Do you play it safe, go with CCM 18, race that ping for the 100 coin, or do you try like double pillarless and go really risky? Like, what is your thoughts on that?
I honestly really like. I didn't think this at first, but I really like Punkation's route. I don't know if I'll implement it because it's not what I normally do, but Punkation's route is CCM 17, but then Toxic Maze in HMC instead of the second pillarless. I think it only loses a second to CCM 18, but it's the most consistent route, so I think that's a very good race route.
And I believe we saw that from Shan's just 2 races ago. While our runners are in and out of CCM, make sure to double check exclamation point schedule to see the awesome action that GSA is bringing. We've got Cheese coming up here in just a little while. Pericuzzi is racing Toast Rider against tonight. I'm interested to see what movie he'll be watching during that race. We could probably take some bets in the chat to see what movie he's going to be going for. But check that out. Exclamation point schedule. See what's going on. It's all SM64 all night tonight here on GSA. Ooh, Triforce, I don't know if you noticed that, got that safety red just in case as he's doing CCM 18 here.
Yeah, TK's been talking about that. He said the safety red is like, ooh, Retro almost falling off. But the safety red is only like a couple of seconds, but it basically ensures that you're not going to mess up the slide to the point where you lose like a minute if you don't spawn the star on the slide.
Right.
So it's, you know, one of those taking a little bit of time, but to add consistency.
And it hurts getting all the way to the end of that slide with 84, or I'm sorry, with 99 coins, so 84 at this point. Right now he's got to grab 6 of these and he is home free. Executed perfectly. Just as RetroRuns is nipping at his heels.
Yeah, TK finishing up the slide as Retro's starting it, so still not a very big lead for TK. I think Retro may have either made up a little bit of time or stayed around the same through CCM, so solid gameplay from him so far.
He did miss a coin on that jump, but he'll be fine with 85. Wrapping it up, showing how pro these guys really are.
Yeah, that's always a scary part. Even if you're confident that you're good at the slide, you know, there's, you know, if you miss one too many coins, you're, again, out of minutes, so it's just...
It's heartbreaking.
It's definitely scary.
Heading into Big Boo's haunt at this point. Triforce with a small lead. It's still anybody's game at this point. We know that going into upstairs, going into Tippy, that's the game changer. It's the consistency. Consistency is key here. We haven't seen any major mistakes out of either of these runners tonight, which has been great.
Yeah, I'd say the closest thing to a major mistake is maybe the stuff like Owlless miss in Womps for Retro. That cost him a bunch of time.
Right.
But otherwise, it's just been like small things that, you know, maybe annoy the player, but visually to us, it doesn't look like much of anything.
Seeing that adaptation from TriforceTK, I know a lot of runners like to go Mario Cam when going to kill the Boo to get into the cage. RetroRuns elected to do that, but TriforceTK stayed right there in Lakitu-Can, knocked him out, and was very efficient at it. One of my favorite stars here, you know, you defeat Boo, I believe it is 3 times. This one is probably one of the more satisfying. I like the camera angle. I like to be able to see what's going on behind that edge of the house there, because it was always mesmerizing just beginning to watch SM64, and I'm like, what are they doing behind the house? Oh, the old school Mario punch up is what they're doing.
Ooh,
Retro struggling
with a bad angle on his approach, but quick recovery.
Another bad angle. Looking good.
Retro missing wall kicks on this BBH star.
That's going to cost that time that he so desperately needs, as TriforceTK is going to go ahead and catch Mips.
I wonder if that was a mistake. Retro ground pounded like towards the door on the initial Boo hit. That was bizarre. I wonder if that was either a safe approach or if it was an accident.
We'll have to ask him for sure after this race, because a lot of those small little optimizations, you don't think about how they waste time. You're like, oh, okay, yeah, this is a half a second here, a second here, but it really adds up throughout a 50-minute run. You do that 30 or 40 times, then you're already behind.
TK with a beautiful pillarless first try.
Just as RetroRuns grabbing Mips, and he's going to be headed in for his pillarless attempt as well. We have seen one runner, and I can't remember who it was, actually have to go for the shell. I believe it was Sagotu when he was running the other day, having some serious issues with pillarless, having to opt for the shell to open up the top of the pyramid. Definitely not what you want to go for, but you got to come up with something after you've exercised all of your backup stars.
Yeah, we've seen many runners struggle with pillarless through this tournament. This is one of the biggest gatekeeper stars in terms of getting runs going. That, you know, one of the biggest stars that isn't just like something in Womps, you know? Like, it's a very difficult star, and it's, you know, crazy how consistent some of the top runners are at it.
TriforceTK looking to wrap up his time here in the shifting sandlands, grabbing that star, just as RetroRuns is going to head back in, most likely for the talent star. Commentator was wrong, didn't read the script correctly, but getting a ledge grab. Losing some time yet again. Wow, opted to grab that bird, was not able to do it. Just wasting time here as TriforceTK is blazing past him. Already in Lethal Lava Lands, grabbing that very first hot log rolling star. Wow.
Yeah, just not the kind of thing you want to have happen after you get pillarless. It's like you get it and you feel like, okay, the rest of the level should be easy from this point, and then maybe you just overlook that sort of mistake. It's just
right.
It's so frustrating.
TriforceTK headed into the pyramid, wanting to go ahead and knock this out. Going for the long jump method on this lava boost. Executes perfectly that 70 nonstop action. Kind of kicking in. Didn't grab the bottom of the pole there and missing the star, but was able to execute. You know, the first time that I really saw that was in the nonstop 70 tournament, watching how you grab the bottom of the pole and kind of spin around. But I've never done it myself, but I'm assuming it's really easy to fall off the other side, so you have to be careful.
Oh, yeah, of course. I mean, you know, anything up there, like one slight mistake, you're going to fall all the way to the bottom, you know, so you got to be really careful up there.
Nice side flip from TriforceTK, taking out that first bully, just as RetroRuns is entering Lethal Avalanche for the first time this evening.
Also, what happened to Retro's timer? Did it restart?
It looks like it may have been reset by accident. We'll see if we can dupe the timer. We'll get our restreamer producer on that. RetroRuns electing to get that elevator star first, just as TriforceTK is going to go hang out with some bullies. We saw dual triple kills early. He gets a double. Wasn't able to pull off the triple, but a very fast bullies indeed.
Yeah, even if you don't get the triple, as long as you kill the third one like fast, it's not too bad. It's really precise to get the triple, so, you know, take what you can get with that star.
Solid performance so far from Triforce. Very little mistakes. He's moving with deliberation, and that's what we've seen from him in his performance throughout the nonstop tournament, throughout this tournament. You know, the nerves kind of start off in the beginning. It can be a little shaky, but then it's like he turns it on, and he's in the zone.
Yeah, and I don't even think we saw that struggling of the beginning from Triforce. He's just been all around pretty consistent so far. You know, very minor things that he's making mistakes on, but just not easing off the gas pedal at all here.
TriforceTK heading back in, going to tackle that elevator star. Now, in your opinion, does star order really matter when you're coming into a race?
Not really. I mean, it's like certain stars, like, you know, getting the slide before Womps or something like that kind of matters, but like when you're in a level, I don't think it actually matters. Just do what you're comfortable with. However, when going for PB attempts, I think it does matter. Okay, Retro nearly dying, but
almost dying. Getting the ledge grab there. Sorry to interrupt that, but wow, that kind of hurts.
Yeah, it could have been a lot worse though, so that was, you know, good recovery. But yeah, star order in PB attempts are a lot different because I think, you know, with PB attempts, you're going to reset more often, so you want to get the hard stuff out of the way first. And we'll often see runners do stuff like that anyway, just because it's what they normally do, but like in reality, in a race, it doesn't matter what order you do the stars in.
Nailing lava boost, just as TriforceTK going for that HMC, that newer route. You know, I keep saying newer route. It's not that new, but it's the newer of the two. Saving that extra second, gonna go get that second MIP star for sure.
I think it still can be called the new route, because it's like, I don't think there's another faster route that's been made since, so I guess it's the most recent, so I think new still applies.
Alrighty. Head back through Retro, getting a burn there. He's got to play it safe here.
Yeah, that's so scary, because you have like no speed for that long jump, so you really got to be precise with it.
This is where we talked about the mentality of these runners having to go through, and those mistakes add up over time in your head. Looks like Triforce not having to eat any lag, no lag reduction needed on emulator here, headed for rear sub. I'm pretty sure he knows that he's in the lead at this point, and all he's got to do is chug forward. You know, not going for a PB, just going for the win here.
Yeah. TK definitely with a slight advantage because he's playing on emulator. And I believe Retro's not playing on emulator, so TK getting no lag on Dire Docks, and, well, any level for that matter. So it's like a 30-second advantage for TK on that alone.
Triple box jump incoming. Nails it right on the star. We see RetroRuns going ahead and electing that older route, doing HMC now. He will not be going back downstairs after Snowman's Land. So we're going to see the routes kind of split here, and we'll be back together again right before Rainbow Ride heading up into Tippy.
Yeah, it won't really be exactly even until they, like, touch the 50-star door, I think. Or, like... I suppose technically the stairs going into it, but until then, even castle movement's different, so... we won't really be able to tell for a long time how much the gap is.
Firesea looking good from TriforceTK right now.
Yeah, he's playing really fast. He's got a good chance at early Ellies.
He's definitely moving with deliberation, which is important. Missing
the triple jump. He can maybe still get early Ellies, but he definitely can't get lava boots now.
Slow and steady wins the race. That old adage of the hare and the turtle, the turtle. The commentator can't even speak. Tortoise, turtle, one of those things. I don't know what it is, but we're seeing that here today, getting amped and burned.
That was strange. I feel like I should have known about this, but I didn't know that the amp animation cancels getting burnt because he was standing over lava, but then
in the lava.
Then the platform rose, so he was still safe. That was interesting. I feel like that's something I should have known by now, but I didn't. I've never seen that before.
Retro heading back up top. Looks like he is going for Toxic Maze, missing that clip. Not going to cost him a lot of time, but definitely a few seconds here, having to drop that elevator and get down there. Now, if I'm in Firesea, it is super scary. You miss a throw here, it's going to cost you some time.
Yeah, this is definitely the worst throw to miss. Because in Bowser 1, he'll just come back up and then you just throw him again. But if you miss one in Bowser 2, he'll make the platform like fall down and like teeter and stuff. It's just like it's a lot of time. But missing... Oh, I was just gonna say, missing Bowser throws in general is just, it's really slow anyway, and it's a very feel-bad mistake. Yeah, it hurts.
It's one of those things like dying at the end of TTC 100. I mean, it affects you deeper than maybe, you know, missing the clip here in Toxic Maze or something like that. We're gonna see possibly a Christmas miracle coming from RetroRuns.
Ooh, missing the switch.
Going for the backup. Now, if you could kind of explain to the viewers how that works. Now, from my understanding, it doesn't matter when you dive. It's more of the height of the triple jump or the side flip once you get over.
It's the height that you wall kick the wall off of. You want to be at like the peak of your triple jump before you wall kick, so you have the most height. I really don't understand why that works, because you would think that from a fall that far, you would get the same amount of distance, like, anyway, like, but apparently that's the factor, is just how high you are when you wall kick off the wall.
It's interesting because the backup is only a double jump. You kick the wall and you fall back into the switch, and it's not nearly as high. So I could see that different mechanics. Just as TriforceTK getting amped here in his 100 coin in Wet Dry World.
I think the backup works because, like, the animation is different from when you kick off a wall. Like instead of wall kicking, like kicking off the wall, it's weird terminology, but the animation is a little bit different, so there's a lot more leniency with that.
TriforceTK not going to play it safe here. Getting great RNG on this 100 coin. To me, that Chuckya scares me. You see a lot of runners that don't have such a sizable lead. They're going to turn to the right and throw the Chuckya just so those coins don't fall off. But TriforceTK looking very confident. See, RetroRuns has got to do something here. He can't rely at this point on a mistake from TriforceTK because TriforceTK is playing over the top at this point. He's going to have to make some changes.
Ooh, Retro missing the star, down warping.
Down warping against that wall.
Yeah, definitely a very comfortable lead for TK right now, but I mean, we've seen it before, mistakes happening in Tippy and even sometimes in Upstairs, and you never know what can happen in a race scenario like this, but TK definitely in the driver's seat. Definitely, if he just holds out till the end of the race, he should have this. But a lot can happen between now and then.
Agreed, 100%. TriforceTK playing it safe, not doing that triple jump wall kick up to the elevator. He knows he's got time at this point. He's not going to do anything risky. He's not going to do anything crazy. He's just going to keep chugging along.
I'm not sure if TK even goes for that strat and runs. I haven't seen him stream in like a week or two, which is bad on my part. I should be watching him more. These runners are great, but it's such a precise strat for the amount of time that it saves. It just doesn't seem worth it unless you're going for a really good time.
People debate that like they debate Owless as well, with that 6-second time save. Triforce missing the ground pound right next to the box, but was able to jump back into the star. Like going over Owless, which is a 6-second time save, if done absolute optimally. But if you miss it, you're kind of up a creek without a paddle, having to back it up and then losing more time than you would have saved.
That's a good point. I really think that strats at the beginning are supposed to be harder because you know have the time to reset earlier. But like strats like that towards the middle or end of a run, it's like, you know, yeah, like if you're making the run really good, you should still go for them. But otherwise, like when you're that far in a run, that like on good pace, that kind of stuff doesn't come around too often. You really want to minimize mistakes at that point. But I don't know, maybe that's just my preference for now.
I could definitely agree with that for sure. RetroRuns having trouble grabbing the pole here in Fire Sea. It's not looking good for him.
He's just going to have to go for normal cycle here. So, not a lot of opportunity to make up time in Fire Sea.
If you're in RetroRuns' shoes right now, what are you thinking? Like, what's going through your head knowing that your opponent is so sizably in front of you?
If I'm RetroRuns right now, I'm probably screaming a lot. Probably very angry because of the like difference in the lead.
We can see he's angry there, waiting on the elevator to come up.
But I know when I was in this position against D whatever, I told myself that I lose. I told myself that, but I want to play as good as I can because I want the run to still be visually impressive. I want to not get embarrassed, so I wanted to like still do everything in my power to go as fast as I can. And if for some reason a comeback would happen, then all the more power to doing that. But even if not, just want to push through, you know, push through the pain, I suppose.
And that's fair. Just as TriforceTK is doing some weed eating here in THI, had a solid secrets, missed the second secret, had to go back and grab it. But other than that, fairly solid run from him. Now, if you want to check out all the runners, including my fellow co-commentator here, Cartoon Buffoon, hit ! bracket. You can check out each of the groups. We're currently in the group stage. Right now, I know that Group B, they've already had their folks that are going to set to advance, which is going to be Poke and Lunar Jump. Group C is D whatever, and you, of course, sir, securing those 2 wins. Group E is going to be J Mill and Benji headed forward, and that's the only ones that we have from here. Now this win will put Triforce advancing out of his group for sure.
I believe we have a Super Viper that also advanced, but they didn't post it yet because his entire bracket isn't done.
Correct.
So there may be more runners like that as well that I don't remember. But yeah, we've got a few runners that have already advanced. But we don't have too many days of this left, so a lot is going to be decided in the next coming days to see who moves on to the bracket of 16. It's going to be exciting.
For sure. If you check out ! schedule, you can check and see when all of these folks are running. Lots of SM64 action throughout the week. I think Wednesday we have like 6 or 7 matches back to back, just like we do tonight. Getting out of this group stage and heading into the normal matches. So excited to see what's going to come. Just as Triforce is making short work of this tall mountain. This is crazy.
Yeah, Triforce playing really well on this upstairs right now. No major mistakes. Not even a lot of minor mistakes from what I've seen so far.
You know, TriforceTK, as you said, from that ROM hack world, it was able to translate a lot into SM64. I guess you'd call it vanilla, maybe. Because, like I said earlier, a lot of the ROM hacks really test you, test your ability, and you can speak probably a little bit more to that.
Yeah, I think a lot of ROM hack players go a little under the radar because they're not playing the original game, and that's like, I think generally the more well-respected game. But a lot of runners like TriforceTK and I like are really skilled with still like moving Mario fast, but we're doing it in ROM hacks instead of this game. So it really doesn't take a ton of time to like get the motor running. You just need to translate, you know, because we're already like skilled with moving Mario. We just need to learn the specific strats with this game as opposed to with the other games. So, you know, still very skilled, and you know, just took a little bit of time to learn the strats, and then we were off, I suppose.
And I think even the strats are only a part of that. The movement, like you talked about, just getting Mario around the screen is huge. You know, Blue Bob says movement saves minutes, and he executed that with his 16 and his 70-star demonstration. RetroRuns getting a ledge grab there.
And fall damage. And a bonk.
Wow.
Oh
he's going to have to catch up to this elevator.
Oh,
Not able to make it. Going to have to wall kick his way up.
Missing a wall kick. Dives.
Oh, and dives.
Oh, no.
Truly heartbreaking. He's going to have to go back up. Got a weird angle on that triple jump dive.
Another weird angle. Retro is falling apart. Oh my goodness.
Wow.
He's got to be getting inside his own head at this point with all these small mistakes, but inevitably missing a cycle, and now it's just, oh man.
Huge time loss coming from him right now.
And ground pounding the phantom box right there. Maybe that's just a habit to ground pound there, or maybe he just wanted to prevent the fall damage, but finally got the star. Not doing good though in terms of making up ground.
TriforceTK in Snowman's Land before the 40-minute mark at 36. Looking very good.
Yeah, I wonder what kind of pace TK is looking on, because he's been playing really solid the past, like, you know, pretty much the whole race. I mean, he's been playing really solid, so he's potentially getting a good race time if he, you know, clutches it out.
I had the ability to talk to TriforceTK a little bit early today. He was worried about he hasn't played in a couple of days, hasn't streamed, which is probably why you haven't seen him. So he was kind of worried about being rusty, but he's on fire right now.
Yeah, he told me he was streaming earlier today. It was while I was streaming, so I didn't get to catch that one. But he said he choked a 48 pace run in, I believe, TTC. So I don't imagine he's very rusty if he did that, you know, earlier. But, you know, in a race standard, I can imagine he would be a little bit nervous, but obviously performing really well under the pressure.
For sure.
Retro with a really weird jump dive, bonking above that door.
He's got to be in his own head at this point for sure. Just as TriforceTK headed down to HMC, grabbing MIPS for a second time. Now, right now, TriforceTK's PB that was posted about 5 days ago is a 49.29, currently third as far as on the emulator board.
Yeah, so I don't know what kind of pace he's on, but if he gets under a 49.06, he would have emulator world record, which would be very impressive. Very
impressive indeed. That's beating out Sagotu. That record has stood for 2 years now. Punke, of course, having the number 2 spot there with the 49.27.
Yeah, Sagotu has been pretty dominant in terms of emulator play for years. The keyboard god, as many would say.
The keyboard god, keyboard warrior, just as we saw Shans. You know, they're popping up and they do very well. It's kind of a shock what they can do with that keyboard.
Yeah, it's really amazing. I can't imagine how they got so good with the keyboard, because there was a brief period, I think probably a few months where I played ROM hacks with the keyboard, and you know, I got okay with several months of practice, but I could never get to the level that Sigo got to with, you know, keyboard. Like, it's crazy the precision with the inputs they make, because, you know, especially with the directional buttons, because it's either a full input or not at all. There's no, like, pushing the control stick, like, halfway. So it's
Right.
a lot more precise in that regard, too. So it's a disadvantage, but he's still making the most of it. It's ridiculous.
Triforce in HMC now, he's got to be thinking ahead at this point. You know, HMC, I don't want to say is a gimme course by any means, but he's done the hard strats. He's probably preparing himself for what's coming next, especially if he choked a run earlier on today in TikTok Lock.
HMC pretty much is a gimme course. I mean, dumb mistakes are bound to happen, but compared to the stuff that it's around, it's so much easier. So it's, as I think I've heard people say, it's almost like it's a break level. You know, it's just like a little break in between upstairs and Tippy. You know, just to get your mind clear, to get you ready, to get you a little bit less stressed of the pressure that, you know, you're gonna face. Well, I suppose right now, once he gets to Rainbow Ride, as he just finished up with HMC right now.
Finished up with HMC at 40-25. Looking very good. Very solid.
Looking pretty saucy.
RetroRuns getting that mountain clip that TriforceTK struggled with. He's not going to go for the log wall kick here. You know, at this point, RetroRuns, all he could do is kind of bow his head and keep chugging forward in hopes that TriforceTK is going to make some sort of mistake.
And I can't remember if Retro was either 0-1 or 0-2. If he's 0-1, I don't remember if he's eliminated, but this definitely was a must-win for him, I remember, so. TK dying in Rainbow Ride.
He is currently 0-1 with his bracket. Liam Kings has 2 wins and a loss. TriforceTK, this would be his 3rd win if he wins this match, and Virago is 0-2. That's that Group G.
Alright, so Retro, yeah, if he loses, he's eliminated, because Liam and TK both have 2 or more wins, so. It's not over yet. TK has shown that he's human with the death in Rainbow Ride, and a little bit of sloppy movement here, too, but luckily at
It's
least
not over. Not over till Mario gets his cake for sure.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it's when you get the big star at the end. The cake is many minutes later. But I know what you're saying.
The cake could be, you know, there's speculation that Peach really wasn't preparing a cake, that Bowser sent the letter to like lure Mario in, and then Peach just felt bad, so she made him a cake.
I mean, I'd buy it. I
That's
mean,
possible.
regardless, Mario's still getting a cake, so I mean, who cares?
Yeah, that's fair.
A cake's a cake.
Now, I mean, going through all of this, though, you know, 15 grueling courses over this 15-minute period, and actually you don't go through JRB, so not that many courses, but 15 minutes of grueling, nonstop bombardment from Mario, and all you get's a cake, really?
Yeah, I mean, many would say that Mario is you know, truly a humble man, just doing this out of the good of his heart.
Over and over again.
Yeah. I gotta respect that. But
RetroRuns just now heading into Snowman's Land. TriforceTK looking great on these tricky triangles. I love that movement. It's so fluid. It works so well, and it looks awesome. Anybody being able to pull it off. So
I think it's a little bit slower to roll out off of the switch as opposed to rolling out off of the first triangle, but still looks really, really clean. I can't imagine it losing very much at all.
TriforceTK gonna be wrapping up his time here in Rainbow Ride. Hadn't spent very long here, just kind of came in and say, hey guys, I need these couple of stars, and I'm getting the heck out of Dodge. I got stuff to do. RetroRuns struggling, trying to get that shell to knock out these SL Reds.
And we saw, because Triforce did Hazy Maze Cave late route, he didn't have to go for Snowman's Land Reds. So one would say, oh, it's only a 1 second time save, but I feel like it's more than that because it's getting a MIP star instead of an entire Snowman's Land red star, which is a lot more room for more mistakes.
Yeah, it's tougher to make mistakes on castle movement.
And even if you do, it's not going to be as much time.
Exactly. Yeah. Agreed, 100%. TriforceTK working on this 100 coin, going ahead and knocking it out. I don't blame him.
Yeah, mostly clean movement for him so far. Let's hope no invisible wall trouble with this ending here.
TTC 100, very scary. Very, very scary.
Ooh, good box kick. Yeah, really solid 100 coins from TK.
He is on fire at this point. Definitely on fire, looking great.
I imagine this pace would probably have been really insane if he wouldn't have had that death in Rainbow Ride.
Pushing through. Now he can, I don't want to say relax a little bit, but he's not having to go all the way up to the top.
I don't think you can ever relax in TikTok Clock. It's such a hard level to play really fast.
It is.
You know?
And it's very movement-based, movement-intensive, but it's got to feel good getting that 100 coin out of the way.
Yeah. I think it's almost more satisfying to get all 3 of the triple jump wall kicks that you'll see him do. He nailed one of them already. But that beginning movement, I don't know. It's not, you know, the hardest thing in the world, but like you have to do it 3 times, so you kind of get in your own head. Like you've gotten it twice, and then it's just like, you know, okay, I got to do this, and then it's like really good. Or if you mess it up, it's just such a tough thing.
Right.
And TK missing one of them.
That's going to cost him just a little bit. He's got that sizable lead. RetroRuns just now going into Rainbow Ride. Making it very easy. Just working his way through at this point.
We see Triforce doing the top-down approach for these stars. The what is it? The ice cream cone method? As one would say.
Yeah. So instead of eating, you don't eat an ice cream cone from the bottom. And I believe the last match, RetroRuns struggling to get that pole. Pity was talking about some folks just like to eat the filling out of the ice cream, and some like to eat from the bottom, some like to eat from the top. It's all preference. Personally, I like to eat my ice cream from the top.
I honestly prefer the middle route because I liked the name. They had like the ice cream sandwich.
Ice cream sandwich. The Oreo. And that's fair. You know, I think it's important, though, to at least start from the top, especially, you know, knock out TTC 100, because if you do fall, just like we saw RetroRuns right here on these red coins, if you do fall, you do have backups behind you as well.
It's a really interesting backup wall kick approach to get back up by Retro.
Alrighty. Retro knocking out these reds, really struggling this match, and it's nothing huge. It's these small errors here and there, and that's what I talked about at the beginning of the match, that they really add up over time. TriforceTK gonna go ahead and knock out reds here in TTC.
And it definitely hurts that he's playing someone like TriforceTK playing so well right now, because like if he was playing a runner that wasn't as skilled, I mean these mistakes would be less noticed and it'd be, you know, a lot closer. But TK just, you know, really solid this race, so it's just making, even though Retro's not making a lot of big mistakes, it's just making it look so much worse just because of how far behind he is. But Retro's still not having a very bad race, just TK, like really solid.
Non-stop for sure, like almost crazy. Not getting the ground pound there.
I believe, can TK still 49? Isn't it still possible, I think?
He would need like a 16 bits, you know, like a Zaya looking bits for sure. But I believe he can.
Ooh, Retro dying.
Wow. Heading through, TriforceTK bound and determined. Like, this is a man with confidence. This is a man that knows what he's doing. This is a man knowing that this win is going to push him into the bracket stage of this tournament. Getting a little dust there. It's rough commentating when players are on runs like this, because you're almost having to point out these little small things because there's nothing major happening. Different movement there. Getting Goomba'd!
Okay, at least he didn't die. I mean, usually you see a runner get Goomba'd, they just fall off the stage entirely and die, so... About the best case scenario that can happen when getting Goomba'd. And almost hitting it again.
Not going to be able to pull out the 49 unless he hits all 3 of these throws really quickly. I think that's going to be away from him.
I don't even think it's possible at this point, because isn't the fastest fight like a 39?
Yes. So probably a mid-50 here. Solid run from TriforceTK.
Oh yeah, really solid. I mean, he had obviously like if he wouldn't have gotten Goomba'd there, I mean, he would have had a chance at 49 still probably.
Ooh, throwing Bowser off. Showing the viewers what he's got there. Grabbing that third throw, all he's got to do is grab this star and he's good to go.
So low to mid 50. I mean, that's really solid performance from TriforceTK. Really impressive. Where retro things are going from bad to worse, a death in TTC now. Oh my goodness.
All right, and you did notice that the clock stopped. We had to dupe the clocks over and use the same clock for both sides as RetroRuns is finishing up here. TriforceTK, phenomenal run. Like, you had to be feeling great for that run. Maybe.
Triforce, are you here?
Oh, hello.
There he is. There he is. You had to be feeling awesome for that run. Like, tell us what was going through your mind.
So, I will start off by saying I am really happy with how I played in the second half. Not happy with how I played up until CCM, but I am a bit salty I died in Rainbow Ride. So, you're probably wondering why I dove on that death. Like, I dove off.
Yes.
I was trying to kick because I was trying to avoid a ledge grab because my angle for Lakitu bounce was bad. So I'm like, all right, I'm just gonna kick, turn around, and go do reds because I don't want to deal with that dumb ledge grab. And I was really mad. But I could have still 49'd going into Bowser in the Sky, and the Goomba got me.
The Goomba, you got Goomba right there at the end.
Yep.
You know, luckily he didn't die and fall all the way down, but still a time loss for you. I mean, you looked confident, and that's what we've seen throughout this tournament from you specifically is you just turn it on. You don't let those things affect you for sure. So, a solid performance from you today as Retro's finishing up in TikTok clock. So, what do you think? You're going into the next round. Who are you worried about?
Oh, everybody. I'm worried about, well, there's obviously the big dogs. You got Cheese, you got Punky, you got D whatever. But I'm a little scared of Super Viper because he's kind of a similar runner to me, where he's really consistent. So
right,
if I have to go up against him, I might be a little bit scared. Benji, he's up and coming, improving player. I'm a little bit worried about him too. But yeah, I guess in general, I'm just worried. I don't know.
I mean, but you were playing solidly. It looks like you put your head down and just did the thing pretty much. RetroRuns didn't make had a few mistakes throughout his run, but didn't make major things. There was a bunch of small things. But for you didn't let him affect you at all. How do you get in that mindset to not let these small things affect you?
That's a great question. I used to be like, I don't know why, like when I first started speedrunning, I got really, really mad at small things. And I guess over time, I've kind of accumulated this mindset of, I still get mad during speedruns, but I don't know, when I started doing races, it was just like a natural mindset of just staying calm and clearing my head and just moving forward. I don't know.
And that's fair. And that's something that runners struggle with. Cartoon has been able to give his insight. Cartoon, do you have anything for Triforce before we wrap this up today?
No, just a really solid run. Really worried. I hope that I don't have to play you in the next round. But, I mean, it would be very very interesting.
That'd be fun.
Best of luck to you in your
you too,
in your next
brother.
round. Thank you.
Awesome performance. Thank you again, TriforceTK. We're gonna let Retro finish up here, heading up into bits. He's grabbing his last star that he needs. Already grabbed that Toad star, so he's gonna be running up into bits. Give him that opportunity real quick. while he's heading up, coming up next, Cheese versus Drogi. Both of these gentlemen have already raced once today, and they're racing again. Like, that's crazy. You know, I'll commentate multiple events throughout the day, but I don't have that you know, mentality of, you know, going hard for an hour. I mean, would you do 2 races in a day, Cartoon?
I mean, if I needed to, I could have. That was certainly something that was talked about at first, because like I was super busy. But I was luckily able to schedule it to where I didn't have to do 2 in one day.
Right.
But I imagine that it's not a big issue because it's only 2 hours, and if they're broken up, like because you know they didn't have to do both runs in a row, I imagine it's not that bad. Get a little break, get a little hydration, get some energy. You know, it shouldn't be too big of an issue, but I imagine maybe a little bit of stress.
I'll do 3 in a row.
3? Oh, see.
No, I'm kidding. No,
TK going hard.
Never. Yeah, 2 in one day is a little bit scary. I certainly admire Cheese and Drogi for doing it.
I imagine it would be a way different feel if it were something like 2 120s, you know? That would be
that
a lot worse, you know?
For sure. Absolutely.
Whereas with 16 star, it may be like no issue at all.
Don't forget, check out our sponsor, Vi.gg. Now, they're sponsoring the prize pool for this particular tournament and the 2 others that are going on right now at GSA. You could also contribute to that prize pool. Any of the bits, the donations, the subscriptions, all of that goes to the prize pool for these players in all 3 tournaments. So show us what you got, subscribe, get your time clocks ready, drop some biddies, donate, and show these runners some love for sure. RetroRuns doing the same thing you did, Triforce, missing that last throw.
Mm-hmm.
He missed another one earlier, though. So, just basically since Tippy, like, nothing has been going Retro's way, which is a little sad to see. Still finishing out. Still a solid performance for a lot of the run from Retro.
Finishing up strong, for sure. We're going to get Retro in here for a very quick interview.
Ground pound.
See if we can get Retro in here. Retro, what happened, man? It was rough.
Yeah.
It was rough for sure. You know, nothing really major, but things just weren't going your way today. Is there anything that you would focus on in particular?
Not really, no. It's just one of those runs, you know. Just things don't go well.
That didn't go well for sure. All right, guys. Thank you very much. GG, TriforceTK, both runners, thank you for running today. Cartoon Buffoon, it has been great having you in the booth. Great commentary as always.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure, man. This was an interesting race. Congrats to TK for advancing, and GG to both runners for a good race.
Thanks for commentating, guys. I'm sure whenever you watch it, it's going to be straight fire.
For sure. And stick around. Don't forget Cheese versus Drogi coming up right next here on twitch.tv/speedrun. Stick around.